Today, on the 29th of April, the Church remembers Catherine of Siena. And I thought it would be interesting to learn a little about this holy woman and the legacy she has left us. Born on the 25th of March, 1347, in Siena, Italy, into a large family, Catherine Benincasa was the second youngest of 25 children. Her father was a wealthy dye maker, while many of her male relatives were public officials or went into the priesthood. She was a pious girl from a very young age and had religious visions and practiced self-deprivation, especially fasting. She also made, unknown to anyone, a vow of virginity. When one of her older sisters died in childbirth, and as would be expected in those days, her parents began to arrange her marriage to the widower of her sister, and her mother urged her to improve her appearance, Catherine responded by cutting off her hair, something nuns do upon entering a convent, and her parents punished her for it until she revealed her vow. They then permitted her to become a third-order Dominican, and in 1363 she joined the Sisters of Penance of St. Dominic, an order made up, interestingly, mostly of widows. It wasn't an enclosed order, so she lived at home. For her first 3 years in the order, she stayed isolated in her room, seeing only her confessor. Out of those 3 years of contemplation and prayer, she developed a rich theological system. At the end of the 3 years of isolation, she believed she had a divine command to go out into the world and serve as a means of saving souls and working on her salvation. Nourished by a life of contemplative prayer and mystical experiences, including in 1367 a mystical marriage to Christ, she then began to devote herself to active care for the poor and the sick. Her visions and trances attracted a following among the religious and secular, and her advisors urged her to become active in the public and political world. Individuals and political figures began consulting her to mediate disputes and give spiritual advice. Catherine never learned to write, and she had no formal education, but she dictated her works to secretaries. The best known of her writing is the Dialogue, works of theological doctrine written with a combination of logical precision and heartfelt emotion. In 1380, Catherine, already weak from years of extreme fasting, gave up food and water as a response to problems in the Catholic Church. And although she gave up on the fast, she sadly died on the 29th of April that year, only 33 years of age. It is interesting to note that this is the age at which Mary Magdalene, one of her key role models, died. It is also the age at which Jesus was crucified. Catherine of Siena was an ascetic, mystic, activist, author and holy woman of the Church. Her assertive and confrontational letters to bishops and popes, as well as her commitment to direct service to the sick and the poor, made Catherine a powerful role model for a more worldly and active spirituality. Today, we too can be inspired by this woman, who shows us that Christian discipleship is about listening to God's call on our lives and then actively responding.